And we are back with our part 3 of Touchstarved demo. Let's get into it. If you have not seen part 1 or part 2, those are available to watch on the channel you are on right now. Part 1 was streamed live on Twitch, part 2 was not. This is not live, this is a recording, and we're gonna get into part 3. Alright. His gaze is a violent crimson, one that sears through me, leaving me feel raw and exposed. They're the same eyes I've seen over and over, first with the scarred woman, now with the soulless circling me, all bound by the sea spring's blood red. In the shroud of darkness behind him, shapes like massive tentacles twist and coil around the wooden beams. I can't focus. The soulless growls ring in my ears. They're not advancing, but that could change at any second. Panic rises in my throat as I struggle to track them. Hey, eyes on me. My stomach rolls as I tear my eyes away from the soulless. Don't ignore someone who's talking to you. It's not polite. For a moment, anger knocks my fear aside. Who is this bastard? I'm distracted or fuck you? Damn. That's a pretty violent response. I mean, I kind of want to see what happens. I look right into his unnerving eyes, holding his gaze defiantly. Fuck you. Is that better? Damn, okay. A crooked grin cracks across his face. We'll work on it. I like how his name is Bastard. This is his name is right now. I scan the souls again. They really aren't attacking. Posturing more than anything else. Almost as if they're waiting for commands. Did you tame them? Power of the sea spring. They're hungry, so they might bite. You could give me a reason to stop them. Say what? Okay, sir. How about I didn't do anything wrong? Ah, yes, the ultimate reason. I didn't do nothing wrong. Trespassing. Damn. You got me there, bro. I really done be trespassing, don't I? I really do be trespassing. Oh, yeah. So, I can't say I have a response to that. And that's punishable by death? Damn, I guess I do have a response to that. He gives me a non-committal shrug. I called out earlier to see if anyone was here. Were we supposed to play hide and seek? Didn't hear you. My voice stops my throat. This man's terse coolness is both infuriating and terrifying. He's hot. Anyhow, I rack my brain for a way to diffuse the situation. I need help. Okay, fine. I need help. I thought the sea spring could cure me somehow. My voice wavers pathetically. Honesty has never been my strong suit. He cants his head to the side, appraising me, but doesn't respond. I fidget nervously. I'm telling you, I came here for help. Are you listening? Your hands. Alarm jolts through me as I hide my hands under my cloak. Show me. Why? Won't ask twice. I hope that the full version of the game comes with voices for them, so people like me aren't doing this. We ain't voicing them terribly and constantly changing. With a sharp huff, I reluctantly hold out my bandaged hands. Whoa, what kind of wording is that? Are you getting off on this? I mean, unwrap them. Heat rushes to my face and fire to my tongue. I should give up a piece of my mind, but not when his soulless are on one command from ripping me to shreds. Yet no matter how much I will myself to move, my body is frozen in place. I stand there for a long, agonizing minute. My hands are trembling when I finally raise them. I know the skin beneath the wrappings all too well, the hideous unnatural flesh I've grown to despise. I grip the edge of the bandages. Stop. Oh, why are you telling me to stop? With a wary sigh, the man slides off the beam and lands with a thud that shakes the panels underfoot. He's a monster, with an imposing figure that towers over me. I couldn't tell how tall he was before, but he's big. Illuminated by lantern light, his features are stronger, sharper. Subtle clinks of metal accompany each of his footsteps. The closer he gets to me, the faster my heart hitches. What does he want? Is he going to kill me? I step backwards and find nothing to set my foot on. I've forgotten my back was the sea spring. I fall right before a warm hand catches my lower back. Oh, he caught me. I'm hovering above the sea spring, the scent of smoke and leather enveloping me. Blazing crimson eyes bore into mine. Told you to watch your step. I'm too stunned to muster a response. Like I weigh nothing, he guides me back to solid ground and steps back. Following a subtle gesture from his fingers, the soulless around us disperse and relax. The shift in their demeanor is so abrupt it gives me whiplash. The enormous tentacles are no longer in the rafters, though now. I doubt I ever saw them at all. Either way, I exhale a breath of relief. Thanks. As focused on me as he was before, the monster pays no attention to me now. He kicks some seating pillows out of the walkways, checks the contents of the kettle with a scowl. The sudden disregard is almost insulting. So that's it? I'm not a threat anymore? Never were one. Then why'd you threaten me? People get honest when they're afraid. In other words, he was messing with me. I drag a hand over my face, exhausted by the fact that this is the second time a monster has provoked me today. You're Eyes, aren't you? Depends who's asking. One of your friends told me this was your territory. She also said you were a gang leader, but there's no one else here. I thought there'd be more people. Eyes picks up the kettle, walks to the edge of the sea spring, then dumps out the contents into the endless red. Gang took a walk. Aw, smile. That's actually a really cute smile. His pleasant smile stretches across his face, ear to ear. Then in an instant, it drops. I get the sense that I shouldn't ask about his gang again. You said you came here for help? Depends. Can the sea spring cure a curse? Probably. You mean you don't know? Nope. He shakes out the empty kettle and starts collecting stray cups, tidying up. My frustration builds. I narrow my eyes at him in a questioning glare. When he notices, he returns it with an amused smirk. Are you being irritating on purpose? Listen, Sparrow. The sea spring can cure anything. Nothing stopped you from trying it yourself. What do I have to do? Drink. I have to drink from the sea spring? My eyes glide to the blood-like pool beside us. The idea of ingesting the strange liquid makes my guts churn. It's not as if I'm averse to elixirs or decoctions. I've made my fair share of them, but one misstep and you could easily meet with fate worse than death. Is there a price? Always. Eyes taps his temple with a finger. You lose it a little bit. That's it. Might have already beat it to the punch. My humor earns me an amused, fanged grin. This is a little different. When you drink from the sea spring, you forget who you are. Your mind combines with everyone who ever drank before. Humans, monsters, soulless. One big happy family in your head. Oh, that sounds pleasant. My blood runs cold. I've heard of these before. Group minds. Some legends suggest that independent minds can be physically linked together through a strong enough catalyst. It's never been done before. But something tells me this is real. Even if it's one thing that doesn't add up. Your eyes are red too. But you obviously haven't forgotten who you are. Before I can finish my sentence, Aya strides past me towards the entrance. Time's up. Let's finish this later. Wait, already? You barely told me anything. Came on a bad day. I've got somewhere to be. There are still so many questions burning on the tip of my tongue, but my frustration spills out before any of them. I was told to come here for help, but instead I get threatened and kicked out? You're joking, right? Watch your tone. I'm nice, but you don't want to ruin the host's mood. My skin prickles. The feeling of being watched washes over me again. My eyes start back over to the sea spring. A lone ripple dances on the quiet surface. I take Aya's advice and clamp my mouth shut. Ayas approaches a nearby soulless, a lanky, dog-like one with 6 legs and a crown of tendrils. Several sets of crimson eyes adorn its sides. Its forked tail wags rapidly when Ayas squats beside it. He runs his fingers through the tendrils, scratching its chin and pats its head. A gentle smile plays across Aya's lips. The affection he holds for the soulless is painfully clear. I dip my eyes away, my stomach fluttering at the tender sight. It's getting dark out, so this pretty girl will guide you back. Following a short whistle from Aya's lips, it trots over to the entrance obediently, tail swaying. I watch the soulless warily. Pretty is not a word I would use to describe it, and the idea of it protecting me sounds absurd. If I decide to drink, how should I find you? Find someone with eyes like mine. They'll point you in the right direction. But think it over. Once you drink, you can't go back. It's a lot to process, but I give a small nod. At least I know I have another option for a cure, as disturbing as it may be. I follow the soulless at a measured distance and watch it nudge the giant doors open with ease. When I'm about to cross the threshold, I sneak one last glance behind me. My heart skips when I meet Ice's eyes. I'm about to snap my head away, but he just flashes me an easy smile. Till next time, Sparrow. I'll buy you a drink for scaring you. I don't trust myself to do anything but respond with a curt nod. Outside, more crimson-eyed soulless scuttle about. It's hard to believe it's the same threatening pack from before. They chase each other in circles, roll around in the bog's mud. They pay no attention to me as the dog-like one escorts me away. It's an uneventful trip. Sometimes the soulless looks over its shoulder at me to make sure I'm still following. Dusk darkens the sky by the time we reach the city. The soulless sits and looks at me expectantly with familiar crimson eyes. Wave at the soulless, pet the soulless. We gotta pet the soulless. As nervous as I am, I carefully guide my fingers through the soulless's tendrils and scratch me with its chin, just like Aya's had. It pushes into my palm in response, rumbling with a sound akin to a purr. The vibrations are soothing, almost healing my fatigue. When it's satisfied, the Solus spins around, scampers back in the direction we came, vanishing into the darkness. It's barely my first day in Iridia, and I've already encountered so many things I thought were impossible. Tamed Solus being one of them. My head spins. Maybe I should call it a day. Nightfall creeps across the streets of Iridia. The city labyrinth, even in daytime, has become a whirlwind of treacherous alleyways. The streets are completely deserted. If I hadn't been here earlier, I would have thought this part of the city abandoned. I make my way through the winding streets, doing my best to keep my bearing towards the wet wick. My steps slow when I hear rustling in the dark. I strain my ears, for everything is still. Is the silence playing tricks on me? Something is wrong. The fine hairs on the back of my neck prickle, a frisson of discomfort running down my spine. Something is wrong. My eyes dart from one side of the street to the other, searching for movement, but the shadows are as deep and as dark as pools of ink, and I see nothing. I can't stay here. I need to reach a busier part of the city. Drawing my cloak tighter around my body, I hurry on my way. Though I keep my eyes sharp and listen intently, there's only the sound of my own footsteps. As the moments pass and nothing happens, I begin to wonder, maybe I really did imagine that noise. I turn the next corner, and my thoughts come screaming to a halt. My head spins, the world blurring as adrenaline rushes through my veins. Only one thing is clear amidst the haze. The Solus that attacked the caravan is crouched over a dark, indistinct shape, a body. A garland of intestines spills from pallid flesh. Blood grouts to the cobblestones. For a mercy, the Solus is too distracted by its meal to have noticed me. My feet feel as heavy as stones, but I can't just stand here. Holding my breath, I take a step backwards. When the wet, slurping sounds don't abate, I take another, then another. Then a shard of glass crunches under my heel. Oh God. The world seems to slow to a crawl as the Solus raises its head, blood dripping from its tendrils. Every single one of its sulphurous, bulging eyes fix unblinkingly on me. It's really here. It's come back for me. Oh, I only have one option. Run! I'm off like a shot, running for my life through the darkened streets. Behind me, a piercing bass splits the silence, and heavy footfalls pound after me. My heart thunders in my chest. I take turns at random, trying to lose it in the maze of streets, but I can't seem to shake it. I can hear its breathing now, a wet, fluttering rasp, growing closer and closer. The same claws that severed my arm swipe out. I duck, saved by pure reflex, and skid around a corner. I take 3 running strides before the bottom drops out of my stomach. A wall twice as high as me bars my way, a dead end. When I turn around, the Solus looms in the entry to the alleyway. It's no longer running. It doesn't have to. As it prowls closer, my thoughts race. Some of the buildings lining the streets are lit. There must be people inside. It's a long shot, but... Scream for help? Try the nearest door. Ain't nobody gonna help me? We're trying the nearest door. I roll, grabbing the handle of the closest door. It turns completely, the hinges creaking as I push, and I feel a flash of hope. Before a weight hits the door from the other side and slams it shut. Damn, they really said, you staying out there. The click of the lock turning is grimly final. In this wretched world, a few people stick their neck out to help their own flesh and blood, never mind a stranger. The Solus gives a rasping hiss. It's the only warning I get before it lunges for me with a flash of claws. I hurl myself to the side. The slick cobblestones betray me. I fall, sprawling over the rough stone. As the Solus looms over me, I scramble away from it until my back hits the wall. There's nowhere left to go. It descends on me for the kill. But the impact never comes. We got a bloody hand. I rarely crack one eye open, then the other, not sure whether I should believe what I'm seeing. A hooded figure crouches in front of me, one blood-stained hand outstretched. Ooh, another cutie. Moonlight slivers the edge of their stiletto knife. Their face and hands are splattered with blood, and the soulless. My eyes dart past my unexpected rescuer to the misshapen form behind them. The soulless's many eyes, once restless and vibrant, now look dull and waxy. The red pool spreads slowly from under its body. Numb with shock, I can't help but stare. It's dead. After all the people it's killed, after nearly killing me twice, I can hardly believe it. Well? I gingerly take the offered hand. The stranger's gaze dips to my bandages. Pale lips part on the brink of a question, and then close again. With a strength belying their slight frame, they pull me to my feet. As soon as I'm on my own 2 feet again, they pull away from me and start wiping the blood from their face and hands. Stay there. They turn away from me stiffly, leaning over the soulless's gangly body. With their back towards me, I realize that their hooded silhouette at the cenobium. You were at the cenobium, you saved me, you're shorter than I thought. Damn. Okay. That's not a situation appropriate sentence. You saved me. I shouldn't have had to. Damn, okay. Their harsh response takes me aback. Before I can formulate a response, they continue. What are you thinking, traveling alone at night? This is far from the worst thing haunting Lowtown. Can't make heads or tails of them. First they save me, and now they scold me? Lesson learned. I could do without the lecture, though. To my surprise, they break eye contact. Their attention glides back to the soul's corpse. They examine it with an inscrutable expression. I clear my throat to fill the silence. I'm Rinka. Min. Suddenly Min tenses. Their blade flashes as they drive it into the base of the soul's skull, right between the cervical vertebrae. The soulless thrashes once, letting out a rattling hiss as the air leaves its lungs. Min leans on the blade, driving it deeper and deeper, until there's a sickening crunch and the creature goes limp. My heart thuds in my chest. It must have been clinging to life by a thread. Min straightens up, drawing their blade in a single smooth motion. Better to put wretched things like these out of their misery. They calmly clean the blood from their knife. They struck with surgical precision. Their quick, clean movements are familiar. Ooh, we got a red one. Are you a scientist? There's also wise soulless in the city, which is also a pretty good question. But we're gonna go for the red option. Are you a scientist? Min stops mid-motion, lifting their head to stare at me. You knew exactly where to strike. Have you studied anatomy or medicine? Not quite. Why is a soulless inside the city? Good, we still asked the question. Min looks at me, eyes searching before realization dawns. You're new here. There's no walls around the city. Soulless can come and go as they please until someone is contracted to stop them. Cenobium's patrols don't bother to protect Lowtown. Not anymore. Let me guess, you're not a fan of the Cenobium. I wouldn't go that far. Their brow abruptly furrows and they sheath their knife, motioning for me to follow them. It's not safe here. The vultures can smell death. Not quite sure what they mean, but I don't want to stay lost in this city. I trail behind them as they stride down the street. If it's so dangerous, then why are you helping me? I came for the bounty on that solace, and you were in the way. Not killing you isn't the same as helping you. Don't count on being so lucky again, or you'll be dead by sunrise. Damn, okay. Their answer is stingingly harsh. I just need to find my lodgings. I hold my hands up, trying to forestall any more snippy comments. Alright, I get it. I'd love to get out of your way, but I'm sort of lost. I just need directions back to my lodgings. What makes you think I'll help you? Nothing, but there's no harm in asking. This seems to catch them off guard. Their brows knit, and they look away scowling. How troublesome. Rinku? Oh. Kudas! I turn, surprised by the voice. Kudas walks down the street towards us. His white and gold clothing is pristine, despite the grime of the city. Hello, Min. I see that Solace was your work. Min shrugs. There's familiarity to the way they regard each other. You know them, Kudas? Min is a freelancer who's done a few errands for me. They are quite reliable. So they're an official they-them! Yes, bitch! Non-binary for the win. Unreliable freelancers don't eat. A freelancer who wields a dagger like a scalpel? There must be something more to that story. Rinku needs to get back to wherever she's staying before she wanders into the jaws of another Solace. Is it late? Were you able to find a place to stay, Rinku? I'm staying at the Wet Wick. Both their faces fall. I see. Would you like a guide? It might be preferable to wandering about alleyways. That would be nice. Min clicks their tongue and sighs, sounding mightily put out. Going to the Amaryllis district? That gaudy cesspit? Come, this way. Despite Min's clear distaste when Kudas leads me down the street, they keep pace with us. Catching my curious glance, Min's eyes narrow. It's not safe this late. I don't care about you, but Kudas is the only doctor worth a damn in this place. Are you like this with everyone? The deadpan look Min gives me is answer enough. I catch Kudas hiding a slight smile. I suppress a sigh and resign myself to having a grumpy shadow all the way back to the Wet Wick. The route Kudas takes is completely different from my slow meandering earlier in the morning. In no time at all, he cuts through the darkened streets and twisting alleys. It seems like half the city has poured into the Amaryllis district's colorful streets. Laughter, clinking glasses, and music assault my ears from every direction. Yet the most noise still comes from the Wet Wick. Its doors hang wide open, lanterns lit. Here we are. He moves towards the door, and Min lets out an audible huff. Don't tell me you're going in. I have some quick business with Leander. Ugh, fine, he still owes me for yesterday's work. They drag their feet, reluctantly trailing me into the tavern. You don't want to come in? Don't come in, baby. As soon as the doors open, a wave of sticky heat rolls over me. In the hours since I left, the wick has grown suffocatingly crowded. Kudas stands out, easily a head taller than most. Even so, I nearly lose sight of him amid the sea of swarming bodies. Pardon me. The crowd parts as though answering his request. Kudas glances over his shoulder at Min and me before gliding through. How can anyone breathe in here? Min follows Kuros at a clipped pace. Leander is right where I left him, although he's traded places with the bartender. He holds a pair of shot glasses filled to the brim with luminous green liquid. And now for the finishing touch. A flash of magic paints the glasses white with frost. You're never gonna guess what's in these. Leander slides the glasses across the bar, and I get my third and fourth shocks of the evening in rapid succession. Ias leans against the bar, an elbow propped up on the counter. He catches glasses and lifts one to the light before turning it upside down. The contents magically congealed, staying firmly in place. You're supposed to make drinks, pretty boy. Don't tell me you're wasted already. There, perched on the bar's counter beside Ice, takes a single look at the shot glass and shakes his head. What have we here? A bucket full of boogers? Leander's nose treasure? You've eaten worse. Bear's lips twitch and his ears flatten when Ice offers him a glass. He turns his cheek with a sniff and Ice just snickers. Coward. Don't tell me you're actually. In one fluid motion, Ias throws back his head and downs the shot. Drinking that. A dark look crosses Ias's face. It's chewy. The fuck? Chewy? Wait, let me try again. What the fuck? Behind me, Ben grumbles. I told you this place was a nest of degenerates. If it isn't Kuros and Min. At the sound of Leander's voice, Min's pale eyes grow wide. They look ready to bolt. Kuros sets a hand on their shoulder. I promise this will not take long. Min's eyes start from Kuros' hand to his face, then soften. Fine, you first. While they step forward, I linger behind, struck by a sudden revelation. All the people I've met today know each other. All these hot people know each other. What a surprise. Good evening, Leander. Ias. Another drinking competition, I presume? Oh, is it evening already? Could have sworn it was earlier. Just some friendly rivalry, Doctor. Nothing to be afraid of. Kuros acknowledges Leander, and Ias slightest nod, ignoring Ver entirely. Not that Ver seems to mind. He tilts his head, and an impish smile curves his lips when he spots Min looming silently behind Kuros. Ooh, what's happening here? I almost didn't see you there, Min. Looking for your booster seat? Damn! They're really calling Min short. Min pushes back their hood. They level Ver with a cool look. I thought Ias wasn't allowed to bring his pets in here. Damn! It's spicy in here. They're just going at each other. Ver's tail gives an angry twitch. At the first sign of an impending fight, Leander vaults clear over the counter. He slides in between Ias and Kuros. Now, let's try and keep the peace. It's not every day the esteemed doctor takes us up on a drink. His arm snakes around Kuros' shoulders. You are finally taking me up on that drink, right, Kuros? I am afraid not. We were merely escorting Rinku back to her lodgings. Kuros gestures in my direction and my stomach sinks. I reluctantly step into the light. As soon as he sees me, Leander's face brightens. Rinku! It's been too long. Everyone, this is Rinku. She's new to Iridia. Oh god. I feel 5 pairs of eyes fix onto me, and suddenly the bar feels suffocatingly small. My voice nearly catches in my throat. Already met? Hi again. Awkward. Hi everyone. Again. Again? Wait, you've already met everyone? Eyes and Veer level with me subtly amused expressions. Veer's tail gives a lazy wag. We did. Not that long ago either. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to suspect she's stalking me. He looks far too pleased with himself when I roll my eyes. This calls for drinks. What does everyone want? Give me a beer at this point. In an instant, all eyes turned to Leander, freeing me from the burden of attention. I still can't believe they all know each other. Watching them talk amongst themselves feels surreal. But for the first time since I undertook the journey to Iridia, I feel a faint glimmer of hope. I know I was meant to meet them. The low, pleasant rumble of Leander's laugh pulls me from my restless thoughts. Ha! Well, color me surprised. You make friends fast, Rinku. I wouldn't go that far. We're more like acquaintances. A wise man once said that acquaintances are merely friends you haven't shared a drink with yet. A wise man? You said that. Here. Last week. I can hear Min's lips curl with distaste from across the bar. Leander clears his throat and continues unperturbed. Let's toast to Rinko's health. Care to join in, Doctor? Kudos politely declines with a wave of his hand. How about you, Min? No. Are you? No. A resounding pop pierces the din at the bar. We all turn in the direction of the noise. Veer looks almost bashful as he accepts an overflowing flute from the bartender, poured from a bottle so old its label has been worn blank. They serve champagne here? Since when? Veer pauses in the middle of licking the champagne foam from his fingers with a coy smile. You don't mind, do you? In a transformation as impressive as his magic trick, the concern on Leander's face vanishes. He laughs softly. No, be my guest. I know you got an expensive taste. Then he shoots the bartender a frantic look. Unbothered or uninterested in his company, Eyes casts his head at me, a light smile on his lips. How about you, Sparrow? I did say I'd buy you a drink earlier. No, my treat. Eyes regards Leander over the lip of his glass. In the dim light, the glint in his crimson eyes looks downright dangerous. What will it be, Rinku? I'll take that drink, or water is fine. No, we're gonna be ballsy. We're gonna take that drink. I'll take you up on that drink, as long as it's not one of those green shots. Don't knock them till you tried them. They taste better than they look. Somehow I doubt that, but I hold my tongue long enough for Leander to go behind the bar. He's lying, isn't he? When I glance at Ayas, he only shrugs. Like I said, they were cheery. Probably poisoned me too. He considers his own drink, a tumbler of amber-colored whiskey. Leander's tried to kill me a dozen times by now. It's always been a gamble. Bear clicks his tongue in disapproval. When he finally looks my way, it's with a half-lidded gaze softened by his third glass of champagne. Where are you? I want to let Leander put anything in my mouth. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He fans his fingers over his chest, voice dripping with a fake reverence. The Wet Wick is one of the finest drinking establishments in all of Iridia. While you're here, you might as well partake of the signature water-drowned drinks and stale nut leather. He sweeps his hand towards a chipped ceramic bowl filled with spinely speckled jerky that I can only assume is nut leather. What is with food in the city? As abysmal as you make it sound, This place is completely packed. It's not all bad, depending on the day. Food's edible. Ice takes a measured sip of his drink. Gotta stick around for the real attractions, though. Before I can ask what he means, Leander returns with a tumbler that he sets in front of me. Uneven chunks of ice bob in a pool of reddish-purple alcohol. I eye the drink suspiciously. It better not be another disgusting concoction of Leander's. Relax. It's just a local specialty. Plum gin. Although if you're feeling more adventurous... I shake my head. Leander wraps his knuckles against the bar until the group falls silent. Alright, everyone, let's toast. May Rinku's stay in Iridia be full of bright adventures and discoveries. Cheers! Leander's eyes and Bear raise their glasses in unison. Min only crosses their arm, and Kudos watches with polite indifference. I tip back my drink. The plum gin is eye-wateringly strong. Despite a sharp medicinal edge, it goes down smooth. One sip softens the edges of my vision. The next fades the din of the crowded bar into a low, persistent murmur. I find myself unwinding for what feels like the first time in years. Aren't you the popular one, Rinku? I'm guessing you met Kudos first? It would be more accurate to say that I found her. He saved my life. I merely performed my duty as a doctor. Although I must admit that I was confused when I woke up missing all my clothes. Leander makes a choke noise. Somewhere behind him, Min sighs. It's not what you think. Rinku was in grave condition. I could hardly treat such injuries through tattered clothes. The silence that follows stretches uncomfortably long. I look away, unable to face Kudos' disappointment, and catch Veer snickering behind his hand. That's my cue to change the topic. Kudos isn't the only one who saved me today. Don't you listen? I didn't save you, you were simply there. That's Min for you. Leander reaches for Min, but they duck under his arm with practiced ease, without so much as looking his way. As reliable as they are moody. You're the one to talk, considering you neglected to warn her to stay off the streets at night. I might have gotten a little distracted. Min's only response is a short breath. At any rate, I never got a chance to thank you, Min. Don't. The less Solus alive, the better. For a heartbeat, Min's eyes flick towards Ias, and their lips twist. Ias is too busy nodding along to Fairy's enthusiastic pantomime of stabbing to notice. Lost, no doubt, in an unfailing discussion. I've had enough of this hellhole. Let's go. Min and Kudos share a brief look, then the doctor speaks up. Very well, but there's something I must discuss with Leander, if you'll excuse us, Rinku. And just like that, the three of them depart, leaving me alone to savor my gin in silence. Or so I think, until I hear a voice so soft and low, it's practically a purr. Lost your tour guide? I turn to find Crimson and Pink Eyes trained on me. It's not lost on me that they chose the instant the others left to strike. Just my luck. I had to be abandoned. The two most irritating people I've met all day. Monsters or not, there's no telling what I'd do if either of them pushed me again. Oh. Don't tell me Leander always snuck off to get his knob slobbered out back. He's got business with Kudos and Min. 2-on-1 business, Isn't he lucky? I can't tell if it's the champagne or the company, but Bear has grown noticeably more relaxed. He sits with his chin propped on the back of his hand. His ears twitch whenever a hiccup shakes his shoulders. Why are you so far away? Come and join us. He pats the empty bar stool beside Ias, but I hesitate. The smile Bear wears is sweet and distinctly sly, and with drinks in the mix, I dread how he and Ice will mess with me next. I mean. We don't fight. You both have fangs. You sure about that? I'm not sure about that. Just hours ago, he tried to rob me, and you threatened me. Me? Steal? Surely you must be mistaken. You sure it was me? Yes, it was you, and then you had the gall to kick me out so you could go drinking. Gives another one of his shrugs. I was lonely. A simpler answer than I expected, but I guess I can't fault him for that. Bear suddenly slumps forward, gossamer sleeves pulling where he rests his elbows on his knees. Aya sets his hand on Bear's waist, narrowly preventing him from tipping off the counter. How about we start fresh? Begin with proper introductions, get off on the right foot and whatnot. I'll start. The name's Bear, hunter extraordinaire. Bear's right hand flutters to his chest, and he bows his head, flinching when his hair falls into his eyes. Ice doesn't say anything, so I suppose it's my turn now. It's drinking. Bear considers me for a long moment, his tail idly swaying behind him. Then he knocks back the rest of his champagne. It's a pleasure to formally meet you, Rinky. He says my name slowly and deliberately, savoring every syllable. A tingle jumps down my spine. I quickly turn my gaze away. I smirks at my reaction over the rim of his glass. Is something funny? Nope. I open my mouth and close it just as quickly. They want me to react, goading me into another ridiculous game. Their sharp cat-like eyes keep me on edge. Something about this tension is fun. Damn, okay. It must be the gin. Yeah, it must be the gin. A flash of light over Ice's shoulder catches my eye. Across the bar, Kuros heads for the door. I don't see Leander or Min, but it feels wrong to let him leave without saying goodbye. I'll be back. Bear hums and wags his finger at me as I leave. I slip through the crowd, careful not to touch anyone, but just as I'm nearing Kuros, I stagger, shoulder checked by a man with a neck thicker than both my thighs. He stares down at me, nostrils flaring. Out of my way, shit stain. My words spill out on their own. You watch it. I regret them as soon as they leave my mouth. That fucking gin. The roughneck reels around, shoving a bloodhound out of the way so he can close in on me. Uh-oh. What did you say? He shoves me backwards, sending me stumbling to the sticky floor. I'm fine, but my heart leaps into my throat when I see the roughneck bearing down on me. You trying to start something here? The roughneck freezes, his fist cocked back. A group of bloodhounds caused by the commotion circle him, sizing him up. For it feels like an agonizingly long moment, the roughneck looks from me to the bloodhounds. Finally, he sniffs and spits on the floor next to me. The lob narrowly misses my cheek. Screw it. Too many freaks in this circus tonight. He turns his back on me and comes face to face with Ias. Oh, shit. Ias is about to kick some ass. A dangerous smile spreads across his face. You'll do. What happens next is a blur. Ias's fist crashes into the roughneck's jaw, causing an eruption of gasps, shouts, and even cheers around us. I scramble to my feet right as the frantic crowd swarms around me, cutting off my sight of everything and everyone. Through the ruckus, I hear Leander shouting, Hey, Ias, take it outside. Ignore them, everyone. Look, drinks are on me. But those 4 words, the wake erupts with hoots and hollers. The ring around me disperses as bloodhounds and onlookers rush towards the bar. Ah yes, how to solve our problems, Leander. Just give away all our drinks. That's how you solve problems. Through a thinning crowd, I catch glimpses of familiar faces. Ayas vanishes out the back, dragging the roughneck behind him. Kuras lingers near the door, searching, I suspect, for any wounded before he departs. Min draws their hood up, right as they slip out a side door. While Bear leans over the counter to swipe a glass of wine from behind the bar. Leander, seated at the opposite end of the bar, gestures dramatically and apologetically at the bartender. In the space of a heartbeat, I realize there's no telling when or if I'll see any of them ever again. Whoever I pursue may be the last person I get to speak to tonight. I follow. Ooh. Okay, now we're giving me a route choice. I'm assuming that this would be the end of the demo. Honestly, I'm gonna go for Kudos. Hot on Kudos' heels, I squeeze my way out of the bar. Of everyone I've met, he seems the most likely to help me, and the least likely to murder me on a whim. Earlier this morning, he said I could go to the clinic for help whenever I needed it. Time to see if that promise was actually worth anything. I breathe a sigh of relief once I'm free of the crowded bar. Kudos, hearing me, turns my way. Rinku, you seem upset. I take it the Amaryllis district is not to your liking. Mage who raised me sometimes made bizarre comments about the Amaryllis district, and now I think I have an inkling of what she meant. That's not why I stepped out. You are not in need of treatment after that fall, are you? I scowl up at him, and he holds out his hands in a mollifying gesture. I apologize, Rinku. Please continue. About time. Someone cuts right across me towards Kudos, stopping us both in the middle of the street. Even in the dim pink haze that seems to blanket everything, there's no mistaking the crest white uniform and stiffly starched hat. Another Cenobian cleric. I hastily step back, making myself as inconspicuous as possible. Can I help you? Nervous onlookers hastily part around Kudos and the cleric. The two form an island of a white and a sea of teeming color. Enough. You know why I'm here. Then I hope you find this edifying. Kudos reaches into his coat, produces 3 tiny glass vials. Bound together with a thick leather cord, a silvery powder shimmers inside. He gently flicks the glass, watching the contents swirl, and extends the vials to the cleric. This is it. They look extremely unimpressed. Appearances can be deceiving. He throws me a glance and a swift smile, but I'm too surprised to respond. Kudos was the first to warn me about the Cenobium. Nobody I met had anything good to say about them. And yet here he is, openly dealing with them in the Amaryllis district? I glance between Kudos and the cleric, who seems to notice me for the very first time. Good night. They bow to Kudos, offer me extremely perfunctory nod, and disappear into the seething crowd. Rinku, is something amiss? What was that about? Lower your voice. It is of little consequence. That's all you have to say after the earful you gave me about the Cenobium? You? Shh, be calm. He holds one finger to his lips, which suddenly curl in a cat-like smile. For now, please join me on a short stroll. Kudos' golden eyes twinkle in the low light. He beckons me away from the main thoroughfare, down a side street filled with vendors hawking late-night snacks. What? Wait! Now powerfully curious in spite of myself, I hurry after Kudos. Each of his long, graceful strides is easily two of mine. I catch a glimpse of his gleaming white coat, disappearing around a corner of the street. The moment I catch up, the delicious scents of freshly baked goods flood my nose. My stomach gives a loud rumble. One honey pistachio cookie, please. Coming right up. Without breaking his swift pace, Kudos plucks the sticky confection out of the merchant's hand and offers it to me. The heavenly smell makes my stomach rumble once more. I take a bite without hesitation. Kudos watches me with an indulgent smile, and I notice he hasn't gotten anything for himself. You're not hungry? You need not concern yourself with me. He stops mid-sentence, his eyes darting back the way we came. The hairs stick up on the back of my neck. I just turn just enough to peek over my shoulder, hoping I don't look too suspicious. Sure enough, it's the same cleric who waylaid us in the street, now wearing a thunderously angry expression. Uh-oh. Well, disappointment can be a learning experience. Glimmers of realization dawn over me as I stare up at him. What exactly was in those vials? Perhaps a rare and potent alchemical catalyst? Or some stale fish skin? The two do resemble one another, and it can be hard to tell them apart. Is he serious? I chance another glance at the cleric, who's now trying to elbow their way between the food stalls. A few people make way, but most don't even notice their efforts. Streets far too crowded with hungry patrons. Shall we? Without even waiting for a response from me, he glides swiftly into the crowd once more. You're messing with that? You're messing with a Cenobium cleric? Such impolite behavior. I'm astounded you would even suggest it. Kudos! I must still look incredulous because his smile softens a little. He lifts his hand as if to pat my shoulder, then stops himself. As I said, you have nothing to fear. He ducks into what looks like an abandoned doorway, but opens into a small, covered market. The stalls here are full of more spices than I knew existed. Even taking a short breath makes me sneeze. Kudos slows his pace, occasionally pausing to examine the insistent hawker wares. Wait. He looks up from a display of livid red leaves, each as long as my forearm. You said I have nothing to fear, but everyone in Iridia seems wary of the Cenobium. People fear the obvious trappings of power, wealth, force, or a hideously ostentatious tower. For my part, I find such trappings merely disappointing. The Cenobium once had great potential. They squandered it decades ago in the pursuit of trinkets, pleasure, and petty tyranny. Their narrow, prosaic interests had rendered them blind to all else that moves. I think that's the most I've heard Kuros say on any topic. You sound like you know them well. Kuros lets out a long, low sigh. You miss little Rinku. Familiarity breeds contempt, and I am more familiar with the Cenobium's crude methods than I would like. Now I'm getting somewhere, something beyond vague warnings or swift deflections. I decide to press the point while I have the chance. Familiar? How? Kudos stops right in front of the display of pickled fruits, and I nearly run into his back. He steps aside at the last moment, his arm rests gently but firmly on my waist. I tense, but he's careful to avoid my bandaged hands. Our pursuer refuses to take no for an answer. Them again? I thought we'd lost them in the crowd. I crane my neck to look for the cleric, but Kudos shakes his head. This way. The next street over seems to be home to the high-end brothels. It's full of steep stairways and shadowy passages, perfect for discreet trysts or losing a persistent tail. Pink curtains and painted facades sprawl around me like a giant, colorful warren. It only takes a few more twists and turns down blind alleys and narrow walkways before I'm completely turned around. Kudos, however, seems to be following some map in his own mind. He takes each turn with swift confidence, guiding me with the occasional nudge. The gap between teetering buildings can hardly be called alleys, so narrow we have to pass through single file. Just a little further, the effortless grace which he moves is almost infuriating. It takes every ounce of concentration I have just to avoid tripping over loose tiles, discarded clothes, and unidentifiable rubbish. Meanwhile, his long legs almost seem to float over every obstacle. His clothes are still completely pristine, despite the soot-stained walls on either side. How the hell does he do it? Some sort of enchantment woven into his jacket? A glamour spell? I'm still trying to puzzle it out when I realize how warm it is, with me practically tripping on his heels. The tiny gap between us seems to radiate heat, like beating midday sun on the longest day of summer. Stay close to Kudos. I definitely don't want to get lost here. I stay as close to Kudos as I can without actually touching him. I promise I will not lose you. Oh, thank you. Don't lose me. Is that obvious? Our eyes meet. Despite my best efforts, I find it hard to hold his gaze. I've never seen eyes like his. Despite our dark and dingy surroundings, it's like Kudos radiates his own light whenever he looks at me. Thank you for indulging me, Riku. I believe we have lost our tale. Finally? It's much quieter on the edges of the Amaryllis district, and the deals in the shadows look shadier. Did you enjoy your impromptu tour? Relief escapes me in a tired laugh. After the day I've had, playing keeping away from Cenobian clerics seems almost normal. I was in immortal peril, so that's a nice change of pace. He laughs too, a soft and pleasant chuckle, completely at odds with his usual cool demeanor. Are you sure we've lost that cleric? If there's one thing you can count on, it is the elitism of the Cenobians' finest. They will not deign to follow us this far. He sounds confident enough. I was starting to wonder if we'd have to make a full circuit of the city to ditch them. A beam of moonlight cuts through the clouds, casting his face into sharp relief. However, I should escort you back to your lodgings. It'd be unwise to let you go alone. What about you? Are you staying at the Wetwick? Of course not. Then you're going back to your clinic alone? You just said that was a bad idea. He pauses, stares at me, then his expression relaxes into a gentle smile. Fear not, Rinku. Only the most desperate or foolish would dare lay a hand on me. It sounds insane after 2 near-death soulless encounters, but part of me believes him. The few people who are still out huddle beneath street lamps and in doorways, desperate to be as close to safety as possible. Kudos, on the other hand, looks more relaxed than I've ever seen him. He's strolling down the middle of the street, bold, as if it were broad daylight. Even walking alongside him makes me feel more secure, warmer both inside and out. I hang on to that faint spark of hope. Do you mean it this morning, when you said I could come back to you for help? Every word. All his earlier mirth vanishes, replaced by calm focus. I don't know what to say to that. I almost expected his offer to be a courtesy, an easy way to get me out the door. The fact that he meant it. Why do you ask? I believe I already made my intention to help you quite clear. His eyes flicked briefly to my arm, the one that he miraculously reattached when he found me. I can almost imagine him counting the neat stitches. I just wanted to make certain. I'm still figuring out who's trustworthy and who's trouble. I see. Radiant does tend to attract extreme individuals. Including you? Rinku, I decline to incriminate myself in your eyes. I can recognize a smooth deflection when I hear one. Though if he won't talk more about himself, maybe he'll tell me about someone else. I decide to ask about... Ooh, I get to ask about somebody. Let's ask about Ias. Have you ever been out to see Ias at the sea spring? Once. Only once? Seems like a spring with miraculous powers would interest a doctor. A long silence follows, so long that I'm not sure Kuras heard me. I'm about to repeat myself when he finally speaks in a near whisper. Ias is the rare newcomer who has proven himself immediately worthy of respect. The sea spring is another matter. Hidden depths often contain unwelcome secrets. You could say that about anything around here. A fair point. Nonetheless, I've seen many permitted wonders, and the sea spring is unlike any other. Only time will tell what that means. Okay. Why'd you send me to Leander for help? You know Iridia better than Leander. The company he keeps can be questionable, but I had confidence in him. Yeah, his bloodhounds seemed rough around the edges. Leander has always preferred the company of those like him. I can see that. Survivors of Lowtown's harsh realities, you must have noticed how they flocked to him. I nod. He seemed to know every single person in the Wet Wick. And that's a good thing? Leander's closest peers trust him with their lives. I would say that counts for something. True. Bear. How do you know Bear? Kuras visibly stiffens, and I remember the venom in Bear's voice when he grabbed me. That fucking doctor. It looks like the feeling is very much mutual. Regrettably, Bear is one of my worst patients. How did you cross his path? He stole my room key. You are fortunate that he did nothing else. Oh. He is far deadlier than he seems. There is a reason he is not at liberty, a reason for the collar and chain. He seemed pretty dodgy to me already. I hesitate waiting for Kuras to elaborate, but he seems to find even the thought of Bear distasteful. Min? You and Min sounded like you knew each other well. Kuras heaves a long, suffering sigh. I know them better than most, unless, well, that I would like. Like you, Min is a recent arrival. Their time here has been particularly difficult, as much as I would like to help. He trails off, but I know exactly what he's talking about. Min doesn't seem like the sort of person who would accept help easily. Do they always pick fights that are twice their size? I've implored them not to. They rarely listen. With my curiosity sated for now, I fall silent. I wish Kuras had given me just a little more to go on, but he seems almost as tight-lipped about others as he is about himself. By the time we're back at the Wet Wick, the Amaryllis district seems even noisier and more raucous than before. Drunken patrons overflow into the streets, which reek of spilt wine. How am I supposed to sleep with all this racket? I suggest the stiffest drink at the bar, eternally a ball of wax. Very funny. Even with how tired I am, I'm not sure I'll get a wink of sleep. I'm about to say goodnight to Kuras when someone staggers out of the Wet Wick and right into me. I stumble back, heels teetering on the edge of the filthy gutter. Rinku? Oh, that faces. Next thing I know, a pair of warm arms catch me around the waist. I find myself staring up at Kuras, pressed against his chest. His grasp loosens, but he doesn't quite let me go. Something shifts in his gaze, his eyes fixed on my face. I feel myself growing hot all over at his intense scrutiny. What does he see in me? What is he looking for? Kuras? My apologies. Even after he moves away, the warmth of his touch lingers through my clothes. Oh, damn. I quickly tuck my cloak straight, trying to recollect my scattered thoughts. Good night. Thanks for everything today. You are most welcome. He turns and slips into the crowd, though I can pick out his pristine white coat with ease. A chilly gust howls down the street. When did it get so cold out? Choose your fate. Oh, so I thought I chose my fate. But then they asked me directly whose route I want to take. Kuras, the repentant angel, from all appearances. Kuras is a principal doctor of extraordinary skill, but you know little about the man beneath the professional mask. Kuras keeps even his friends at a cool distance. If you uncover his deepest secrets, will you like what you find? Ooh, so each one has a description. Aias, the demon renegade, an intimidating yet laid-back outsider. Aias presides over a sea spring with unnerving powers. He offers you a miracle, but the price means submitting yourself to the horrifying presence at the heart of the spring. Will you gaze into the abyss for answers, even at the risk of losing yourself? Leander, the heroic mage. Leander offers you something that should be impossible. A taste of normalcy, free of your curse. As the first person to withstand your touch, he could change your life. But some things are simply too good to be true. Leander promises to help unravel your curse. But at what cost? Ver, the chained charlatan. Ver serves as a warning of the dangers posed by the Cenobium. As cunning as he is curious, Ver finds you fascinating, insists that he can help. But trusting men means entrusting your life to a choleric beast with a lethal reputation. Can Ver protect you, or are his honey words a trap waiting to snap shut? Min, the cursed outsider. Despite their cold nature and familiarity with violence, Min is just as desperate as you to get into Cenobium. You may be able to help each other, but they're keeping as many secrets as you. They claim they're dangerous, but could they be your only chance at getting into Cenobium? Oh, I love this. Oh, and that's the end of the demo. Unless we want to do the other routes. That was really good though. That was like really good. That is a game worth purchasing right there. I just wish the characters had predetermined voices because I am terrible at voice acting. I should not be voice acting any character at all. That was really good, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope y'all enjoyed it too. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and if there's a demo you want to see me play, comment it. If you want to see me go back and choose other characters in this demo, we can totally do that. It was a very long demo. That was hours of gameplay for a demo. I've never had a demo that long. But that was Touchstarved by Red Spring Studio. You can get this demo for yourself on itch.io. It is completely free to download the demo. And hopefully the game will be coming out soon. If it does, I have a feeling that this is a game that I am going to put a little bit of money towards, because that is definitely worth it. I really enjoyed this. This was really good. The characters are hot, the story is riveting. I love the use of the older English. It's just perfect. Thank you for watching. Bye bye, everyone.